Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bullpen Banter. And today we're going to be going over the Hall of Fame class and the Shredder's top 10 as of right now. He doesn't have every position available yet, but we're going to go over the ones that he's put. And I just want to say, I don't think I've seen the guy who didn't vote for Ichiro Suzuki into the Hall of Fame and the Shredder in the same room at the same time. So let's get going with this Hall of Fame class, man. And let's go with the guys who receive less than 5% of the vote to start it off, so they won't be on the ballots in the future. And that's Ian Kinsler, who only received 2.5% of the vote. Russell Martin, Brian McCann, Troy Tulowitzki. I know that one hurts. Curtis Granderson, that one hurts me. Adam Jones, Carlos Gonzalez, Hanley Ramirez, Fernando Rodney, and Ben Zobrist. Yeah, out of any of those guys, is there anyone that you're a little surprised didn't get over 5% of the vote, or does any of that stand out to you?
I mean, I'm not a writer of baseball's American Association or whatever the fuck it is, but I don't know, I think there were definitely a couple names. Maybe it's recency bias or just because, we grew up watching a lot of those guys play. Adam Jones not being on the list, Granderson not coming back. I think some of those names, it is pretty painful to hear, pretty disrespectful, as a Blue Jays fan. And as someone who's only been to fucking 2 Rockies games for his major league games, I love Tulo, man. So I'm very sad that he won't be on the list anymore. But yeah, man, what about you? Any names?
I'm not too surprised by the names who were left off, but like you said, I'm hurt about it, man. I grew up loving Curtis Granderson and Adam Jones, man. Every time I hear Adam Jones, I just think of him robbing that home run in the World Baseball Classic, man. So it sucks to see him not continue onto the ballots in the future, but I kind of understand it. So let's go into some of the guys who are going to remain on the ballots, but they weren't really even close to making it in. Just getting over 5% of the vote at 5.1, Torrey Hunter. And then you have David Wright, Francisco Rodriguez, Mark Burley. I'm so happy to see he's still going to be on future ballots. That's one of my favorite pitchers of all time. Dustin Pedroia, Omar Vizquel, Jimmy Rollins, who only received 18% of the vote. That's a little shocking to me. Bobby Abreu, Felix Hernandez, Andy Pettit, Manny Ramirez, A-Rod, Chase Utley, and we'll stop there as Chase Utley had about 30. Where's Chase Utley? Had about 40% of the vote his second year on the ballots. Any of those guys shocking to you that they did continue on or maybe didn't get as much vote as you thought they should have?
Yeah, man. I'm kind of surprised that Dustin Pedroia got as little votes as he did. Got a couple rings. Maybe he doesn't have a couple, but he's definitely got a ring. Was a very pivotal part of just the Red Sox in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, and even the I don't know about the Twins, but yeah, man, kind of surprised about Dustin Pedroia, Jimmy Rollins, of course. But like I said, these are all guys that we grew up watching, so it's like our hearts are very attached to them. I think David Wright, brother, I hate to say this, but I think it's going to be the same thing when Mike Trout is done with his career. We're just going to say, damn, man, he should have been a Hall of Famer if he could have played every season, or not every season, but just like played more games than he did. But, back injuries are bad when you swing a baseball for a living, or swing a bat for a living, excuse me. But yeah, man. So I think those are some of the names. I love King Felix. I wouldn't be surprised if he got in a couple of years. But yeah, man, what about you?
For sure. I think Felix is going to get in at some point. Guys like A-Rod are super interesting because of the steroids and stuff like that. Like, take the steroids away, A-Rod would definitely be in. But if you don't put Barry Bonds in, then how is A-Rod going to get in? Makes no sense. Dustin Pedroia, that's one, like you said, I'm shocked with how little vote he did get. Just based off other guys who have gotten in with really similar stats and stuff. Pedroia could be a guy who gets in. Jimmy Rollins, that's his 4th year on the ballot and only receiving 18% of the vote. Doesn't bode well for him. Maybe, I don't know if he'll ever get in based off that kind of stuff. But I will say next year's class is super, super weak. So I wouldn't be shocked to see some of these guys move up the rankings. I think Felix Hernandez deserves a little bit more love. I know that Hall of Fame, the writers, taking wins into big consideration for pitchers, and I just think that's stupid. Felix Hernandez played for a terrible, terrible team. And like, if you look at the modern era of baseball now, you have guys like Jacob deGrom who won a Cy Young with like a losing record and stuff. So I just think wins shouldn't really be taken into consideration as much as they are. But yeah, other than that, nothing too surprising. I think Felix Hernandez out of all those guys should be the one who gets in. So let's move on to the top people who didn't get in now. And let's start with Andrew Jones, man. Again, this is his 8th year on the ballot, and I am just every year that I see this, I'm like, how is Andrew Jones not a Hall of Famer? This is a guy who, was a great hitter. He has over 400 career home runs. He led the MLB in home runs one season with, I think, over 50. But he's also arguably, in my opinion, not arguably, but arguably the greatest defensive center fielder of all time. How's this guy not in the Hall yet?
I have a couple ideas, but I'll keep them to myself so we don't get taken off the YouTube. I do think it's pretty blasphemous. I mean, Andrew Jones, man, him and Chipper Jones were causing havoc for that Braves lineup back in the day. So it's just pretty disappointing to see that the voters can't seem to get their heads out of their ass for the 8th straight year. Hopefully year 9 is kind of maybe, the writers get, I won't say death threats, but maybe they get some sort of blackmailing scheme ran on them and they can make some good decisions about who to put in for the next season. Like you said, weaker class. So hopefully we see some of these guys get in.
Yeah, for sure. Weaker class. I think Andrew Jones gets in next time. He's up to 66% of the vote, so he's 9% short of getting in. And then you have Carlos Beltran, who got 70% of the vote, only his third year on the ballot. So not too surprising with Beltran, to be completely honest with you. I think he's going to get in probably the next class. I think it'll be Beltran and Andrew Jones. They might be the only two who get in the next class because there's a significant drop-off in percentage. Chase Utley was the next highest after Jones, and he only received a little under 40% of the vote. So I think Beltran and Jones will get in next time, but I think it's just an absolute shame that Andrew Jones is not in yet after 8 years being on the ballot. Next up on the list, man, we got the three guys who made it. And finally, man, I've been advocating for this guy for years and years and years. Billy Wagner, man, finally gets in. I think the greatest left-handed closing pitcher / relief pitcher of all time. He got 82% of the votes this time. If you saw the video of him getting inducted, it was pretty awesome. And yeah, man, 10th year on the ballot, he finally gets in. How we feeling about Billy, man?
Oh, dude, I love Billy Wagner, especially, played with him on the show. That's how I discovered who he was because, I wasn't too into his, historical baseball before, I started watching all that good stuff before I started playing baseball and the show. But anyways, Billy Wagner, man, I love him. I think he has been so, what's the word, like instrumental for relievers of like our time now, because everybody want to come out of the pen throwing 100 and then drop a nasty curveball on you or some nasty breaking stuff, and I feel like he was really one of those first guys that kind of was like, hey, let me show you what the fuck I can do when I come out this back end of the pen. And I don't know, man. I think it's more than deserving. I think it's ridiculous it took him 10 years, but hey,
yeah,
he's there now.
For sure. Greatest left-handed relief pitcher of all time, in my opinion. I don't think it's close either. Next up on the list, we got one of my favorite guys, the guy who replicated my mechanics off when I was a kid, CC Sabathia, man. First year Hall of Famer. That is shocking to me, to be completely honest with you, but at the same time, well-deserved, man. 86% of the votes. How we feeling about CC, brother?
Well-deserved, brother. I love CC Sabathia. Like I said, one of those pitchers that we grew up watching. You replicated your mechanics off of him. I replicated my drinking mechanics off of him. I'm just fucking around. I love CC Sabathia, dude. We had cable growing up, watched TBS, and anytime the Braves would be playing the Yankees, CC was up there throwing. Oh, man, you knew it was going to be a good-ass day. I don't know how, I don't have his numbers in front of me, but I know that he's a fucking dog. He would go call people bitches after he struck them out, and that's the kind of energy I love from players, CC's always been a dog, so
dude,
I think it's
for
well-deserving.
Sure. Yeah, man, I think the coolest story with CC, man, at least as a Yankees fan, is like when he had like $100,000 incentive on the line or something. It might have been more than that. And that man went after retaliation against the Rays and just smoked the next dude up in the lineup, knowing he was going to get ejected. And the Yankees ended up paying out his bonus anyways. But yeah, he was like an inning short of getting it. And he's just a dog. He don't give a fuck, man. It's awesome. I love it. Last up on the list, one vote away from being unanimous. It was probably the Shredder who didn't vote for him, man. Ichiro Suzuki, man, first year ballot on the for the Hall of Fame, and well deserved.
Yeah, super deserving. Whoever didn't vote for him, we can find you, boy. We can fucking find you. But I mean, 99 points. I don't think there's anything that we can't say about Ichiro Suzuki. One of my favorite players growing up, for sure. The High Sox. Just being that slap hitter, but not a big power guy. But there's always those stories of him taking BP, hitting fucking 450-foot nukes, and then he's like, all right, I'm good. That's all I needed to do. I just wanted to show y'all I could do it, but I don't need to do it in the game. He was much more of a contact guy, and I think that was something that was very inspiring for a lot of the smaller guys. I think during that time that he came in, it was a little post-steroid era, so a lot of the guys were, still pretty big, and he came in from the Japanese leagues as fucking like 5'9" or whatever, like 150 pounds, and just started slapping shit all over the field and making these crazy plays and got this crazy arm, bro. I love Ichiro Suzuki, bro. I can't say enough nice things
Bro,
about him.
he's so awesome, man. And like some cool things about Ichiro, man, he has the highest career batting average of any MLB player off of Mariano Rivera, like over the span of at least 10 at bats. He has like 2 home runs off of him, including a walk-off. And then on top of that, Ichiro has the record for the fastest ceremonial first pitch. I don't know if you knew that, bro, but he came out and he pumped 94 miles an hour, bro. Dude is like a 45-year-old. I don't know, bro. Dude, Ichiro's the GOAT, bro. I love him.
I love him too, man. I wish he would have retired in Seattle, but he had to fucking go make his way to the hated Yankees. But you know, it is what it is. And then we won't talk about that Florida team that he played with.
Bro, imagine if Ichiro would have played his whole career in the MLB too, man. He started at 27 years old and still went over 3,000 hits just in the MLB alone, man. And that would have been crazy. So he could have been a guy to compete with like Pete Rose's record.
I remember when Ichiro got 3,000 hits, Pete Rose was fucking bitching and crying about that man should not. His hits don't count. Those aren't MLB numbers. But it's like my brother still finished with over 3,000 hits. Like,
yeah, and just the league,
I don't know,
man.
I don't know, man.
He has like a stupid number if you combine his Japan hits and the MLB hits. It's like well over 4,000 or something crazy,
it's like
bro.
5,100 or some
Dude,
shit
it's
like
something
that.
stupid, bro. All right, so that's the Hall of Fame inductee class, man. Well-deserved players all around. Hopefully, really the only one I'm real up in arms about is Andrew Jones, man. I hope he gets in soon. He deserves it. So we're going to shift it over to the Shredders MLB top 10 list, man. And I know a lot of people have been talking about these, but let's go ahead and kick it off with the right fielders. This is the most recent list to come out. I'll read you it in order, and you let me know your thoughts, man. We got Aaron Judge at 1, Kyle Tucker at 2, Juan Soto at 3, Tatis at 4, Seiya Suzuki at 5, Corbin Carroll at 6, Ronald Acuna at 7, Kerry Carpenter at 8, Matt Wallner at 9, and Teoscar Hernandez at 10. What's your first thoughts?
My first thoughts are, I might get a lot of hate for this, but Corbin Carroll, I don't think he really should be on this list, especially over guys like Ronald Acuna Jr. and Teoscar Hernandez, who have gone out and repeatedly proven themselves as these fucking awesome outfielders and great bats. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? Kyle Tucker at 2 is a little high for me, a little high for my likings. I don't know what went into consideration, if it was like just defense or just hitting, or if we combine the two, because if we combine the two, then I don't really see like how this list makes a lot of sense. Aaron Judge at 1 makes sense to me, I guess, if he's not in center, but Juan Soto at 3, I mean, he should be 2. I even like Tatis. I think Tatis should be at 3 personally, but what do you think, man? I got some opinions.
Dog, I think you hit it on the head, man. Judge at 1 is clear and obvious. Nothing, no arguments there. The rest of the list, though, dog, it's not the bro. Here's the thing, man. If we're going to put Kyle Tucker at 2, why is Acuna at 7? If we're basing this off of, he was injured last year. Kyle Tucker was injured last year, dog. Acuna won an MVP the previous year with arguably a top like 20 offensive season of all time. Why is this man at number 7? So go on top of that, Corbin Carroll was terrible last year. And don't get me wrong, I love Corbin Carroll, man. I think he's going to be an absolute stud. But if we're basing Ronald Acuna's like 20-game sample size from last year to drop him down from, I think he was number 1 last year, bro. Number 1 on this list. To drop him all the way down to 7 because he was hurt is the craziest thing I've ever heard, bro. That's where I'm up in arms. Kyle Tucker at 2, Juan Soto at 3, whatever. I kind of agree with you. I think Tatis should be up at 3. I think people have really, really started to sleep on Fernando Tatis, and that is a scary thing to do with that man. I can tell you that. But yeah, I think it's not a very good list. I think they have like the top 10 right players, but I don't think the order's right. And like you said, I think Corbin Carroll, if she should be on this list, he should be at 10. It shouldn't be any higher.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the shortstops now. We got Gunnar. This is a crazier list in my opinion, but hey, that's just my opinion. Here we go. We got Gunnar Henderson at 1, Corey Seager at 2, Francisco Lindor at 3, Bobby Witt Jr. at number 4, Mookie Betts at number 5, Dansby Swanson, Carlos Correa, Ellie De La Cruz, Willie Adames, and Trey Turner at 10. How we feeling, man?
This list just pissed me the fuck off. I'm upset. Now I'm angry. Nah, I'm just playing, but this is actually the first time I've seen this list. I've heard a lot of people talking about the list. Like, it's been blowing up social media. I've been hearing like, Bobby Witt at 4, what the fuck? And so like hearing that, obviously I'm like, I'm staying away from that list. It ain't no good. So hearing and seeing these names, I'm just like, how the fuck is Trey Turner 10, brother? How does that make any sense? How does Willie Adames at 9? Like, I don't know, man. Mookie Betts, like, that's cool. That's cool. He's a great player. He's like one of the greatest players like ever, but I don't think he's the top 5 shortstop in the league right now. Ellie De La Cruz, a lot more versatile at the position, I think. I mean, he's going to have those blunders, but he's going to get to balls that Mookie can't even dream of getting to anymore.
Yep.
I hate this fucking list. Bobby Witt Jr., he was like, I saw that he was ranked like number 1 in like upcoming players or some shit, or top players in the MLB. And how the fuck is he rated like the number 4th shortstop? I'm just pretty upset about it, to be honest.
Dude, this list makes absolutely no sense, and I've tried to wrap my mind around how they made this list, because I'm like, okay, well, maybe we're going off like household names. They gave him a little more credit. Well, Trey Turner's at 10, dog, and he's been doing this for 6+ years at a very, very high level. And like I said, he was injured a little bit last year. He had a kid and stuff of that nature. He still put up a really good season, like a very solid season. And like you said, Mookie Betts, he's the weirdest one on this list, because if we're saying like top players, yeah, Mookie is definitely like top 5 player, bro. But at the position of shortstop, it ain't the same. It's not the same, at least not in my opinion. And if we're going off those metrics, Bobby Witt at 4 is a crime, dog. It's a crime. Bobby Witt had maybe the greatest season a shortstop has ever had in the MLB. Francisco Lindor finished 2nd in MVP voting. And don't get me wrong, bro, I love that dude Corey Seager. He's my guy, bro. Love him to death. But Bobby Witt and Lindor should be 1 and 2. There should be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And Gunnar Henderson is not number 1. Maybe the first half of last season he was, but if we're going off of everything taken into consideration, Gunnar Henderson should probably be 4th, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's a safe spot for him. Yeah, let us know. Let us know if you want us to go find the shredder and go find his house and slash his tires or something, because this list is absurd.
Yeah, let us know if y'all think this list is as ridiculous as we do, because I think this one, the shortstop list, is the most atrocious list I have ever seen the shredder put out. I mean, this is bad, bro. I don't know. Maybe they're engagement farming. I don't know.
Yeah, bro. Dansby Swanson ain't even the fucking top shortstop on his team. What are we talking about?
I don't know what's going on with that list, bro. All right, let's go to second baseman, bro. This list is a little more reasonable, in my opinion. It's whatever. And also, they have Jazz Chisholm listed here as a second baseman. I don't know, man. He didn't play second base like all year last year, and I don't know if he's even supposed to be playing second this year, but they're like, fuck it, we'll put him at second. All right, so we got Ketel Marte at 1, Jose Altuve at 2, Marcus Semien at 3. Right off the rip, I'll say that's a good top 3. And then we got Brendan Donovan, Jazz Chisholm, Tyler Fitzgerald, Brandon Lau, Nico Horner, Andres Jimenez, and Gleyber Torres to wrap it out. I actually don't think this is a terrible list. I think you could flip-flop a couple of people here and there. I think Brandon Lau should be a little bit higher. He's pretty solid player all around, but I don't have too many gripes with this list.
I don't either. Yeah, I really don't. I don't hate this list. I mean, Jazz Chisholm, I think they just wanted to put a Yankees player up there, and they were like, I don't think we can put LeMahieu up in there feeling good about ourselves. No, it's not a bad list. I mean, Marcus Semien at 3. I mean, yeah, I would say I'd move him above Ketel, but Ketel Marte had such a good year last year, so I don't mind it. I'd like to see how Gleyber does this year. Obviously, as a Blue Jays fan, need to see how Andres Jimenez performs in that lineup, but yeah, good list.
Good list, yeah, it's decent. I think if Gleyber has like a full season like he had the second half of last year, he could move up this list, but it'll be interesting to see how he does in that Detroit lineup without the protection of Soto and Judge, so gonna be a little different for sure, but let's go on to third baseman now. Another list where I actually think they got it decently right in terms of the top 5. I don't know about the order, but in terms of who's in it, pretty good. Jose Ramirez, 1, no arguments there on my end. And then we have Devers, Bregman, Machado, Riley, Chapman, Arenado, Max Muncy, Paredes, and Eugenio Suarez. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, like you said, man, I don't hate this list. I don't think it's as absurd as the shortstops or the right fielders list. I mean, I think Manny Machado could be in the top 3 personally, just because I think he's been doing it for so long and it's still consistent. He's still doing the same damn thing. Austin Riley was projected at 1 last year, or he was the top rated third baseman last year. So seeing him drop down a little bit, I'm not too surprised after a down year last year.
Yeah.
I don't hate this list. I could see Matt Chapman finding his way back to the top too. I think, first year with the Giants, not his best season, but if he can replicate the season he was having with the Blue Jays or even the A's prior to that, I think he could find his way back up to the top 3 as well. But yeah, I don't hate this list.
Yeah, not a bad list. I think all around it's pretty good. I think any of the top 5, other than maybe Alex Bregman, could be interchangeable. Well, I'd say 2 through 5. I think Jose is by far and away the best third baseman in the game. I don't think that's close. But yeah, 2 through 5 is pretty interchangeable for me. Like on a good day, Austin Riley could be 2. On a bad day, he could be 5. So I
Yeah.
think that's good. And then 6 through 10 is whatever, man. Arenado's ranked too high, though. I will say that. He needs to drop down a little bit. Let's go on to, they have starting pitchers listed next, man, and interesting list. A lot of guys who you would expect to see on the list. Let's go with Zach Wheeler at 1, Tarek Skubal at 2, Chris Sale at 3, Paul Skeens at 4, Blake Snell, Corbin Burns, Cole Reagans, Garrett Cole, Logan Webb, and Framber Valdez. Right off the rip, man, the top 4 is pretty good. I don't know, bro. I know Chris Sale just won the Cy Young. I
I
get
was
it,
thinking
bro.
the same fucking thing. Say it.
I get it, man. I know he just won the Cy Young, but is he really a top 3 pitcher in the MLB still, bro? Like, I don't know, bro. Like, Spencer Strider's going to come back too, bro. Why is Spencer Strider not on this list, man? I get it. He was hurt, bro. Like, I totally understand. He just won a Cy Young, dog. Like, he just won a Cy Young, bro. And I don't know, man. A Garrett Cole at 8 feels cool. I actually could see Garrett Cole dropping a little lower. He had a pretty bad year, but again, he was hurt as well, and he pitched well. Blake Snell gets disrespected, though, every single year, I feel like. He wins Cy Young, and then they rank him like 10. And then he wins another Cy Young, and then they rank him like 10 again. And Blake Snell had another insane season last year. 5 is good for him. At least they're showing him a little bit of respect. But I could see Blake Snell and Chris Sale swapping spots there. Paul Skeens at 4 is good, but he could very easily be number 1 at the end of the year.
Yeah, man. I agree. I agree with those takes completely. I personally think, this is just my take, I think Cole Reagan should be a little higher. I think, I would swap him. I would move Skeens up to the 3, maybe put Cole Reagan's at the 4. And then I do like Blake Snell at the 5, just because, he does walk a lot of dudes, but he's still going to go out and get you some innings. He's going to be a dog and win you some games. And I mean, he's on the Dodgers now, so it's just not fair.
Yeah, no kidding.
They're going to win a million games. Garrett Cole, as much as I want to talk shit about Garrett Cole and the Yankees, he's just been so consistent. He's their ace every single year that he's been on the team. So I think it's going to be another great or good season for him. I think it'll be a good season for him. Logan Webb, I'm interested to see how Logan Webb does.
Yeah.
Not, I don't know. Framber Valdez, I think anybody on that Houston team is going to just probably be in the top 10 at like anywhere. So we'll see how their rotation does. I think they're going to do really well, but it just depends on who they want to highlight of it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think 1 through 10 for pitching is hard to rank, so I'm not going to give him too much slack on the pitching stuff. It's tough to rank, that's for sure. Because injuries do too. It's like, as much as I hate to say it, like Paul Skeens at the end of the day could pitch 1 game and have a season-ending injury. And that's the thing, though, is like if he comes back the next season, I'm still ranking Paul Skeens like really, really high just because he had one bad injury. Anyways, let's go to catchers now. William Contreras, they have ranked as number 1. Adley Rutschman at number 2. Will Smith at number 3. Cal Raleigh at number 4. Real Muto at 5. That's a little surprising to me. Diaz at 6. Gabriel Moreno at 7. Alejandro Kirk at 8. Sean Murphy, and rounded out by Austin Wells. Happy to see Austin Wells getting some love in the top 10. Defensively, I think he's earned it. Hitting-wise, I don't think he's earned it, but I know they don't take into hitting too much consideration when it comes to catcher. Like in our interview with Hunter, we talked about, he's like, I don't care if the catchers get a single hit all season. If they can catch, if they can pitch call, then, they're happy to have them back behind the plate. So with keeping that in mind, I understand why William Contreras is number 1. Personally, I'd have Adley in the 1 still. I know he had a down year, but a great defensive catcher, a switch hitting catcher, and at his age, I would still keep him in the 1 here, but I get it. I also think Will Smith should be dropped a little bit, and Cal Raleigh should be in that 3, man. He went off last year.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think, I might get a little hate from Phillies fans. I think JT's a little high. I want to say he was injured for a good chunk of the last season. So, I don't know. Kirky being up there, that boy is a little snack pack. He fun-sized, but he can come with a little pop. Watching the games last season, I couldn't watch it anymore after like the 4th one just because it was dog shit. But anywho, Sean Murphy at the 9. I think Sean Murphy will have a good season this year. I think he'll be a bit better than the 9. I could see him being a top 5 catcher, to be honest, especially on that Braves team, because like you said, Strider's coming back. If Chris Sale does what Chris Sale did, like even half of what he did this past season, they're going to win a lot of games. And I think Sean Murphy will contribute calling games. And I think, he's a pretty decent bat as well. So I don't hate this list. I don't know. I don't love it, Alejandro Kirk personally, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, it's an okay list. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's great, but I don't think it's bad. Let's go on to relief pitchers now. Devin Williams at number 1, Cade Smith at number 2, Ryan Helsley at number 3, Clase at 4, Mason Miller at 5, Edwin Uceta for the Rays at 6, Tanner Scott, Kirby Yates, Jeff Hoffman, Raisel Iglesias, and I'll say off the jump, they got the top 10 correct. They did not get the order correct. Why is Clase not number 1, brother? Why is Clase not number 1? He just had like maybe the best like relief pitching season ever. Why is he not number 1?
Because he plays for the fucking Cleveland Guardians. That's why. That's the only reason why.
And you
Put
know
him
what's
on-
crazy though? His teammate Cade Smith's number 2. How does this make any sense?
Yeah, I don't know, man. That doesn't make much sense to me. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just kind of stumped. I think Jeff Hoffman being 9, he had a great season, right? But he's injured this season. Like, I mean, I don't know when this article came out in relations, but they just found out he had that fucking like tear in his shoulder or some shit like that. So I'm just like, a little high for me. I think he might be in the top 100 if we're lucky, but I think there's so many good relievers out in the game right now that this list, I don't know. I think there are a couple players missing.
Yeah.
Couldn't give you off the top of my head, but I do see names on here that I'm like,
Clase not being number 1's the most blasphemous take of the day other than the shortstop list. But, bro, Clase should be number 1. I get he sucked in the playoffs a little bit, bro, but, like, dude, it's his first time playing in the playoffs, and he's probably going to be better in the future. And also, this is based off the regular season. I don't know, man. It doesn't make any sense to me. Devin Williams, I'm a Yankees fan. Love to see him at number 1, but he's not better than Emmanuel Clase, bro. I could talk about that list all day long. I won't, though. They got center fielders on here next, man. So let's do center fielders. We got Julio Rodriguez at 1. Boy, okay. Jackson Merrill at number 2. Byron Buxton at 3. Michael Harris at 4. Mike Trout at 5. Brandon Marsh at 6, Dalton Varsho at 7, Garrett Mitchell at 8, O'Neal Cruz at 9. I forgot he's a center fielder now. And Luis Robert at 10. I don't know, bro. I don't know, man. I don't know.
well, I'll get it started. This list sucks, bro. What the fuck? Listen, I get Mike Trout has been injured. I get he's only played 100 games like once since 2019, but it's Mike fucking Trout. He needs to be number 1 every goddamn year. I don't give a fuck. You could have the reincarnation of Mickey Mantle come in. I'm taking Mike Trout at the 1. Jackson Merrill, I do love it too. I think, honestly, slide everybody down 1, bring Mike Trout up to the 1. Michael Harris, hell of a player, but, you know, I'll kind of want to bitch and be a hypocrite about Byron Buxton because same with Trout, he misses a lot of games, but he's so fun to watch and he's got so much pop, bro. He's so fast, but I don't know, man. Brandon Marsh at 6. I think that's kind of high for Marshy. I love his look, but I don't think he's the number 6. I don't know, you know, I hate to be a hater, but I don't even think he's the best outfielder on his team. And I know we're doing center fielders, but, you know, put Kyle Schwarber in the center.
Bro, this list is, I was very mad at it when I just first read it, but now that I'm looking at it, dog, this is like not the all center fielder list, bro. This is the all injury list. And so I guess I get it, but I don't know, bro. If we're just going off the numbers, just the numbers, and we're going off of last year a lot, then I guess Jackson Merrill should be number 1 technically. But yeah, I think if we're basing this off of we think these guys are going to be healthy for the whole year, Mike Trout should be 1. But I guess the list isn't as bad as I'm making it out to be, bro. I just don't know about Julio Rodriguez at 1 when he's had some good seasons, bro, but he hasn't been that consistent. And I don't know, bro. It's just a weird list, I guess.
It is, man. Yeah, it's just about consistency with fucking J-Rod. And I think if Luis Robert Jr. gets traded, that motherfucker could be number 1 on this list.
Bro, yeah,
Trade
he's so weird, bro. Yeah, I don't know. He's a weird player. Anyways, that is the Shredders list. I don't think they have the left fielders posted up yet, so we're not going to talk about that. Everyone else, I think we got to, though. Where do y'all think the worst parts of these lists were? Where do y'all think the best parts are? What opinions did we get right? What did we get wrong? And y'all tune in for our next episode. We'll catch you later.
Peace.